The other portion of the presentation this morning has covered our health, our immigration, and we are going to talk about the next segment, which is opportunities for small businesses. Most of us, we are coming to America for the American dream, and small businesses is another way of achieving these small businesses. When you hear the word small business, you think they are small, but in reality, according to statistics, there are more than 27 million small businesses in America. And they account to about 60 to 80% of job creation in America. And they are employing about 97% of all employees in America. 45% of total US private jobs are created by small business. So you can see that they are not small at all. This shows how much small businesses contribute to the US economy, and we cannot take them for granted. But so how do we ensure that small businesses are contributing to the economy to the maximum? There are so many opportunities and programs in our economy, especially in Illinois, to help support or tool the small businesses to achieve their best. Today we've got two gentlemen here. Chima, he is from the governor's office. I think we've already seen him. He read a letter from the governor, Mr. Quinn, about how they appreciate the African community and the UAO. He will be talking about the programs and the services they have in their department, which is Central Management Services. If you're a small business, you need to know about that, and you need to know Chima. On the other side, I've got Tyrone McGowan. He's from ACCION and is responsible for giving the small businesses loans. He's a loan officer. So these are some of the tools we need to be successful. As African business, you need to know these things. So they're going to present, and after that, we are going to field questions to them. This time, I'll hand over to Chima. Let us give him a clap offering.
Thank you once again for having me here to represent the state of Illinois Central Management Services. One of the things that I want to do is have a real conversation about where the opportunities are, and not necessarily just to run everyone through the process of getting certified, but to express a shared responsibility and share information and provide accessibility to everyone in this room, to me and to my staff, and so that once you get the reason why you should engage in this process, you can then follow up with us on a one-on-one basis, and we can actually walk you through the particulars. I know a lot of times we do these presentations and you get a lot of information. We want to follow up with you. We want to be able to follow up with you, meet with you, sit down with you, and walk you through the particulars. But so I can go ahead and start. Once again, my name is Enyia. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for the Illinois Department of Central Management Services. Generally, when people hear about CMS, they think of hiring. Fill out your CMS 100 and try to get a job. That is just one aspect of what CMS does. We, in fact, are a $3 billion agency with $3 billion annual budget. We actually procure over $7 billion a year in goods and services, which is why having minority businesses and the governor really enforcing the minority business participation is so critical, and we need more African businesses. Just from my look into our database, more African businesses in our database and participating. And so just an overview of what CMS does. We manage every state property in Illinois, so that's approximately 17 million square feet of property. In managing that property, anything from cutting the grass to fixing HVAC systems any type of construction around that property, we manage that. So we actually go out and contract with small businesses and companies to fix our properties and to manage our properties, security guards and such. We actually manage the fleet. So we have approximately 13,000 vehicles. Any services associated with those vehicles, we go out and procure. And if we need mechanics, if we need credit cards for fuel purchase, any of those things, we actually contract with small businesses in general to procure. We also procure anything from paper towels to in-depth IT systems. So anything that the state needs, we buy, and we buy it from small businesses. And so that's why this piece is so critical, because as we all know, the cornerstone of any strong community is a strong business community. So other things that we do, we negotiate the labor negotiations for all of the unions within the state of Illinois, so AFSCME, the Teamsters. We do all the graphics and PR, so we procure for marketing services with the state of Illinois. We manage the IT infrastructure, so any type of hardware, software, programming, maintenance. We actually have two major contracts, upwards of $60 million, $70 million that are coming out. One was just posted yesterday, and it has a minority participation goal of approximately 25% on it. And so IT infrastructure, employee benefits, and most importantly for this audience is the Business Enterprise Program. The Business Enterprise Program is a program that ensures that minorities, women, and individuals with disabilities have an opportunity to participate in contracts. Some of the qualifications for this, companies have to be at least 51% owned and controlled by a minority. And so it could be African, African American, Latino, etc. You have to be under $75 million in annual revenues. And I know for most, that's a fairly high number. That's not really a small, but that's the threshold. You can't be any larger than that. So you're not competing with an IBM or a larger company. Also, what we do with our certifications is we recognize. So if you're certified with, say, the City of Chicago, Cook County, Metra, PACE, if you're providing any services to them in their programs, you can also we'll recognize your certification. You'll only have to fill out a 3-page document to be in our program too. And so the Business Enterprise Program, and why I appreciate working with the governor, is because until 3 or 4 years ago, this program was not being enforced. And so when he got into office, he really said, we're going to make sure that we don't just encourage, we enforce these participation goals, whether it be by canceling contracts and rebidding them, calling vendors in who are not complying, and all the things we have at our disposal to do. So just to, connect this, what we've seen since I've been at CMS, some of the issues that we've seen with small and minority businesses, which have maybe discouraged them from bidding. There's been a lot of apathy, and apathy comes when it's perceived that there's no opportunity. And so what some of our challenges have been is encouraging individuals to step back out there and bid. Go through the process, come in, let us walk you through it, and bid. The only way that you can ensure that you won't win a contract is to not bid. And so trying to shift that mentality and get people to participate has been an issue. The second issue is lack of information. One of the reasons why I'm here, I believe in personal contact. And that's why I wanted, this to be a direct conversation. I brought enough cards for everyone in this room because of the shared responsibility to follow up and see a project through from start to finish. And so what that entails is providing information to you. And I'll get you the technical, we'll be emailing out the technical aspect of the certification, but the follow-up and the follow-through is what's important, and that is information. Historically, dealing with the state of Illinois, in this room, everyone knows south of I-80 looks like a different state in many cases. And so part of ensuring that there's opportunity is reversing this culture of exclusion. And that's fighting a lot of ingrained mindsets in people that very frankly do not want us to participate. And so it's a battle every day to ensure that. And a lot of us have targets on our back because they're trying to change the status quo. And so where organizations like UAO fit in are encouraging legislators, encouraging the state, and really putting pressure on all of us to be honest about what's going on and to make the necessary changes to open doors where there haven't been in the past. And one of the biggest issues that people who are bidding are having is payment. And so as I said, we just got back this morning from the budget, and we don't have a lot of money. And so part of the issue is making sure that we're paying vendors on a regular timetable, and that's one thing that I've been addressing directly. So talk about solutions. What are some solutions to the problems that we've seen or some of these hindrances? Previous to this administration, every workshop that we did was downtown. You had to pay for parking. It was inaccessible. And the first thing to do, my director and the governor have said, is to really go into the community, meet the people where they are, take your workshops out there, go out there and understand these organizations and understand the community so you can speak their language and translate that into opportunity. So since we've been here, every workshop that we do is based in the community, whether it's on the south side, the west side, Humboldt Park, Austin neighborhood. We want to come out and work with you and sit with you. So that's one thing that we've been doing to provide accessibility. We talked about the one-on-one counseling. Anytime you have a question, or anytime if you filled out your application, you want to go over it, we'll meet with you. We'll either come out and meet you where you are, or you can come downtown to our office at the Thompson Center, and we'll sit down with you and go through the particulars of your application. The other piece about reversing this culture of exclusion, we've canceled contracts. And I know that doesn't make a lot of people happy because it makes some people's friends angry. We had one company that had a $144 million contract with zero participation on it. And when we canceled that contract, there were calls from certain groups and people getting angry, but we had to do what we had to do. There was a security guard contract that had never had a participation goal before, $72 million. We've since just posted that award with a 25% goal for the first time in history, and a small African-American woman on the south side of Chicago was the minority partner. Right, and so those stories are what we want to help to encourage you that there is opportunity, and we need to make sure that when those doors open, we either kick them down or we get in there somehow. Lastly, well, a couple things to sort of bring this back around is hosting pre-bid meetings. So when you are going through this process, we want to get you into the room with those people that you're going to consider partners so that you can partner with them on the private side and the public side. And so on all of our bids, especially where we do have participation goals, we hold pre-bid meetings where everyone has to come in, talk through the process, and really find ways to piece our companies together and build long-lasting relationships. The vendor payment program, whereas the state used to pay 6 or 7 months behind after you had provided a service, we created a program to get you paid in 90 days. And what we're now in the process of doing is getting that down to 30 days. And that'll alleviate any issue with the regular payment cycle for the state. The governor's championed that, and we're sort of working on that. That should be completed this summer. And the last piece as a resource is the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. They have procurement technical assistance centers, which you will all get the information on. When you're writing your bids, they'll sit down with you and go over pricing, go over anything that you need in that regard to make sure that your bid is competitive. And so I'll close with just a couple websites, and as I said earlier, you'll all be getting this information. First website is my agency's website, cms.illinois.gov. What this website will do is show you all the suite of services that we offer. You'll be able to find the Business Enterprise Program tab. It'll walk you through any questions that you have on the program, and you'll be able to go through and see what we are doing currently. The second website is purchase, that's PURCHASE state.il.us. What this website is the Illinois Procurement Bulletin. So anytime a procurement goes out, if you're registered on this website, and it only takes maybe 10 minutes to do, you'll receive a notification, an email, any addendums to your contract. You'll get all that information via email. So you know right when it hits the street, you'll be the first to be notified, and it will have the contact information of the individuals that will be running that procurement. And lastly, the phone numbers for two of my key staff. I'll give you their numbers. You can call them anytime, and if you ever can't reach them, call me. And you'll have my number also. Carlos Gutierrez. His number is 312-814-4190. And Vincent Bass. Vincent Bass, last name B-A-S-S. His number is 312-814-1227. And I do this because, you know, in closing, this is really a shared responsibility, as I've said. Part of it is us providing information, but having a continuing dialogue about the changing dynamics of the state and how to really make sure that as we move into sort of a new and break a status quo, that we are all at the table. Because once we're not at the table, we've seen it so many times, all the decisions are made without us. And so I would like to be able to count on UAO as I have in the past. I see Ali in Springfield all the time, but to continue to fight, because the more that you fight, the more leeway we have internally to really make some substantive changes. Give us a lot of cover. So thank you, and I'll be happy to field any questions.
Allow me to introduce Tyrone McGowan. He will be presenting now. Tyrone.
Thanks, Godfrey. Thank you for the introduction. So good to be here today. I want to thank UAO for this invitation to ACCION Chicago, for inviting us. I'll briefly tell you pretty much in my presentation what ACCION is, what we do, a little bit of our history, and sort of how we work. And then I'll pause for questions and comments at that time. But it's just great to be here. I originally had planned to be here on the invitation of Ali. He hosted me a couple weeks ago for a dinner. The Chicago Community Trust hosted a series of open table conversations across the city as we looked as a city, as a community, what do we want our communities to look like? And this was a part of that conversation, business and business opportunities, economic opportunities, and social justice. And so it was great to be a part and to be here to continue that conversation in this way as we expand and include your voice in this conversation. So I'll get to the presentation. ACCION Chicago was founded in 1994, so this is our 20th year. We are an alternative lending organization, micro lending organization that works with small businesses throughout the entire state of Illinois and Northwest Indiana. So if you're a business, small business owner, entrepreneur in this state or Northwest Indiana, you're a for-profit company, we're fair game to work with you and to help you expand your businesses. We have primarily three main loan products. Our loans go up to $50,000. That's the max for existing businesses. Our max for startups is $20,000. And our third loan product is called a credit builder loan. And that goes from $500 to $2,500. And that is for, people with not so good credit, tight cash flow, but they're sort of working through their issues. And this credit builder loan, you'll be surprised at how much, that $2,500 or that $1,000 can go towards to help, someone really launch and expand their dreams. Just in my short time being at ACCION, I started at the beginning of the year in January. I've given out several credit builder loans, and already the people people who I've given them to have just grown in leaps and bounds, both personally, their credit has improved, and professionally, their businesses have just taken off. Our average loan size, is important to keep in mind, goes from about $8,000 to $10,000. That's our average loan size. And it's also important to know that while we do primarily give loans, we do a lot of financial sort of education. So we do a lot of sort of one-on-one talking with the client as we look through their credit report. We do a lot of sort of TA, explaining to them, you should really pay attention to these collections. It's important to pay these collections to improve your credit. It's important to, take care of this civil judgment. So we do a lot of sort of one-on-one, looking at their projections that they submit, looking at their business plan, sort of one-on-one coaching. So we are really an alternative lender because, we really work with people who have an idea, who have, the energy and passion, but when they go to a traditional lender, they go to a, big bank. I'm not going to say any names, but they go to these banks, and because I don't know who's in the audience, and these banks sort of turn them away. And most of the times they turn them to us, to ACCION, and we are able to help them and coach them and walk through the process with them, and we're able to most times give them a loan that they can pay back. So like I said, I pretty much went through the three sort of loan products. We consider an existing business any business that has over 6 months of continuous revenue history. We look at startups at any business with less than 6 months of continuous revenue history. Our loans are all term loans. They're not lines of credit. They go from 24 months to 72 months. In some cases, we do have balloon loans for, people doing in construction work, or if you're a company who you got a SPIF grant or something like that, we can tailor the loan to fit that sort of specific need. But most of our loans are term loans, ranging from 24 months to 72 months. It's also important to remember that we don't have a prepayment penalty. So you can pay back the loan at whatever pace you want to pay it back. Our interest rates, this is where it kind of gets a little tricky. Our interest rates they start at 9.25% and they go to 18%. So we're a little bit higher than banks, but we're lower than sort of credit cards and payday lenders. And so, and that's important because if you can go to a bank, we want you to go to a bank to get that lower interest rate, that better deal. But we see ourselves as a stepping stone. We don't want you to open up a lot of credit cards and get into more debt, dangerous debt with these sort of, predatory lending agencies. And so we see ourselves as that next best option outside of a bank. And the unique thing about ACCION is we don't want you to, keep coming back to us for loans. At some point, we do encourage you to refinance with us, but we also encourage you to, after that second or third loan with us, we feel that you should be able to go, to that bank, to that more traditional source of lending. And so we really see ourselves as a stepping stone and not just, we don't want you to be repeat sort of customers. And like I said, there's no prepayment penalty. There is a $30 application fee. And that fee allows us to pull your credit, and if there's a co-borrower or co-signer, pull the credit of all the borrowers that will be on the loan. I'm going to pause here. I forgot to make the announcement that I did bring some handouts, some flyers. I left them on the back table. You can't miss them. They're very orange and very bright. So you can, on your way out, you can grab those. And everything I'm saying today will be on those flyers, and everything is on our website at accionchicago.org. So like I said, we've been in existence for about 20 years now. We've made nearly 35,000 small business loans, totaling over $30 million in the state of Illinois and Northwest Indiana. Just so you can see our impact from last year, 2013. In some way, we impacted, counseled, touched, or gave a loan to over 2,600 businesses last year. We gave over 430 loans out. And for every loan we gave out, it created or maintained 3 jobs. We gave over $4.6 million in loans in last year. So that just gives us a small sort of snapshot of kind of our impact in the state and in Northwest Indiana and what we're trying to do and expand more. So who qualifies for our services? I kind of alluded to that. You have to be for-profit. Although we are a nonprofit, we don't work with other nonprofits. We only work with for-profit companies. You have to have clean or improving credit, especially for the credit builder loans. You have to have some form of collateral. Some form of titled collateral will be great, but also flexible. And if you have a co-borrower or a co-signer, we would consider that as an alternative form of collateral. And that sort of gets to like the 3 main things that we look for, really the 4 main things that we look for in each application. We look for the cash flow, the applicant's cash flow. We look at their credit, we look at their collateral, and we also finally look at their character. So with the cash flow, we take a global approach to the cash flow. So we're not just looking at the business, but we're also looking at your personal cash flow. Because especially for a startup, it's like we're giving the loan to your household, giving the loan to that spouse, to that family. So we want to make sure you have enough income coming in to pay back that monthly payment that's going to happen a month after the loan closes. And we consider a number of avenues for your cash flow. So it could be additional income from a spouse, if you have rental property, if you're receiving Social Security, disability, any of that. We consider all that into your monthly cash flow. And that just gives us a sense of, whether you have enough capacity to pay back the loan on a monthly basis. Like I said, we look at your credit. So to complete your application, and our application is online. I can send you a paper application if you want. But on the application, you'll sort of fill out your basic financials that are listed there. But to complete it, you have to pay that $30. And that $30 allows us to pull your credit. And, we use that sort of credit to just give us a picture at where you will be on a tier, and that will sort of give us like your interest rate and things like that. We also look at your collateral. So like I said, title, collateral, car, home. We're flexible. A cosigner, cash, or a CD can form as collateral. But we also look at your character, sort of what you've gone through to get to this process of starting your business, your education, if you're a veteran, a minority, things like that. So we look, it's not just a one-stop shop. We look at a holistic picture when looking at your application. I'm running out of time, but I could cover some of this in the Q&A session, but I'll stop, put a pause right there to just let you know that we are committed to helping small businesses grow and prosper. We are committed to diversity. We are an organization that's very vibrant in what we do and what we offer. We have a full-time staff of about 30 people. Most of the people on our staff speak, at least one additional language. So we have experience working with immigrants, with minorities, with I-10 persons. And so we're just committed to social justice, to being in the community, and to helping you get your business off the ground, helping you sort of start your dream. And so I'll stop right there, and I'll be happy to entertain any sort of questions and comments. And if you have any sort of one-on-one sort of personal concerns, I have my card, and we can continue the conversation from this day forward. So thank you for your time, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, gentlemen. If you're out there and you have any questions, continue to send the papers to our ushers, and they'll forward them to me. This first question is for Chima. I am a state of Illinois employee, and I would like to know how will I be restricted if I want to run a small business that bills the state of Illinois, that is a business with the state of Illinois.
So if I understand you correctly, your company bills the state of Illinois. Is that, do you have the question? Yeah, if you can, yeah.
So my question is, I'm a state of Illinois employee.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to know if I want to run a business that deals, so I deal with the state of Illinois, so I'm going to be billing the state of Illinois. How is that going to affect me?
So,
Am I allowed to do that?
right, so you would have to provide any type of conflict of interest disclosures, and that'll be determined at the time of bid. And so relative to like the BEP program, you can still have a company that's registered in the program, but we want to make sure that there's no conflict of interest. For example, you know someone in the procurement department at the state, and that type of thing happens. But so built into the procurement process, we have a document that talks about disclosures. So it wouldn't necessarily preclude you automatically, but you would just have to give us that information.
Thank you. This question is to Chima again, but it says, would you give your phone number again? But I think he's already mentioned it. It should be available. He has got business cards too. If you need them, they'll be provided.
I can give them.
Sure, go ahead.
It's 312-814-1900 is my personal work number.
Thank you. Okay, the next question is, what or who takes care of loan when the lender fails to pay? Not sure if it's clear.
That's a great question. When the lender fails to pay, we do in some cases have that. That's not the intended goal, right? The goal is to, get a loan from the start that you can pay. And we know that things happen, circumstances happen. In many cases, we try to work when it gets to that point to restructure the loan to sort of make the terms longer. If you fall into hard times, lose a source of income or whatever. At some point, if the loan is in that stage of delinquency for a long time, we probably will end up writing the loan off, and it will just show up on your credit as it being charged off. But we hope not to get to that point. I think only about 5% of our loans are in default or delinquency. So we're trying to increase that and take on more risk, if that's sort of what your question is getting at. But I hope that answered it.
Okay, before you leave, there's a second part to it. It says, how do you go about collecting unpaid loans?
Well, MB Financial is the bank that actually services our loans. So each month, when you close the loan, you're going to give us a voided business check, and we're going to send that to MB, and each month they're going to sort of auto debit whatever that monthly payment, $200, $350, whatever that monthly payment is, out of your account for however, the many months, 24 months, 36 months, they're going to auto debit that out. And so they service our loans, and they sort of give us, a couple times a month, they let us know, who's delinquent, how many days. And, it's up to our job as loan officers to get in contact with that person just to get that story of, why they're late, what's going on. So we try to be the nice guys and, the middle person, just communicate their story. And it's like I said, our plan is to, if something does like that unforeseen come up, to sort of restructure the loan so that it is more payable, more conducive for you to pay it back instead of, writing it off, charging it off. So that's sort of, I guess, still in line to the first, answer I gave to the first question.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Due to our time, we are going to end here. I've got a few questions. If you still have them, the gentlemen are still around. You'll meet them in the foyer. You can ask all questions. They've got business cards. You can get contacts. Thank you, gentlemen, for that informative presentation. We'll see you again.